Time to go outside. Ooh, you gotta run. What you doing, big girl? Oh, she knows I got treats. Yes, I got a treat. Hang on, come here. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, Gus wants a treat too. Come here, Gussie. Oh, Mommy's having a hard time getting it out of her pocket. Oh, goodness. What's the deal, Mom? What's the deal? Oh my goodness, y'all are so good. There we go. There we go. That's Roxy and Gus. Oh, and Liberty's busy. And the chickens aren't even awake yet. Good girl! Woohoo! Come on! Come on! She's got to go check things out. You can grow food in containers. If I can do it, you can do it. Hey y'all, it's Anna from Mimsy's Garden. And today we're going to talk about containers and different ways you can grow small amounts of food or large amounts of food in small spaces, depending on what you want to do and what your needs are. Come on, let's go. So, with food prices today, I know a lot of people are worried about what they're spending at the grocery store, and a lot of people are becoming interested in gardening, but they have small spaces, or they live in an apartment, or, whatever's going on. The HOA won't let them grow, that kind of thing. Well, let me show you a few things that I've done. And the reason I've done it this way this year is because of my health. I don't know if y'all can tell by looking at my eyes, but I've got the thyroid eye stuff going on big time. I was in the process of switching diets last year, trying to detox. Thought I was just really anemic. Had some lab work done because I just didn't have any energy at all. Turned out I was extremely hypothyroid, and which in turn jacked my cholesterol up, and both those levels were critical. So we're working on that, and I'm better. Just gonna take a while to get all this straightened out. Anyway, so this is why I did a lot more container gardening this year. And so I wanted to show you some freebies and some cheap ways to do things, okay? So let's get on with that. And I'll try to keep this short. Y'all know I can get long-winded. First off, feed buckets. Now, my neighbor gave me a couple of these buckets that her son gave her. And so I filled them part of the way with some rocks and then just some topsoil mulch type mix, container mix, and I added a little fertilizer. And I planted 2 of varsity peppers in there. And as you can see, there's blooms and there's a pepper already. So, okay, when this pepper grows up, it's a large pepper. You can make a meal out of one large pepper. There's another one over here. These peppers are good for stuffing and roasting. Put it on the grill, or you can cut them up and use them like a bell pepper. So that was an idea. And then we're going to pan real slow so I don't make you sick. That's a stray cat, by the way. His name's Bob. I told Bob if he was going to live here, he's going to get fixed soon. Pots that you have, old fruit trees or whatever come in. Not sure why the sticks are like that. I had them kind of like that to keep the cats out of it. That's grocery store garlic cloves that I stratified for a couple weeks and then stuck in a pot, and they're growing. Over here, this is one of those little Walmart things. couple of years ago, they were selling them for $5. I grabbed one, drilled holes in the bottom, and started using it as a plant container. I think it's actually a beach bag or something. It works great. But I've got some potatoes planted in here, and there's some babies. I pulled one yesterday because it had died back, but you can see there's some potatoes growing in there. So you can do lots of things in small containers. And we're gonna keep on walking. Another pot, another pepper. And I've got some ornamental stuff there, and I'll use those pots later on once I plant those. Just hadn't had the strength to plant them. Got some elderberry that needs planted. My strawberry bed is rocking on, and so is the rest of the flower food bed. Another container. It's got some bunching onions. I called those walking onions, but I think it's bunching onions. Got some squash blooming. Got some spinach that needs to be pulled out of here. Got a little Swiss chard going. Got some kale. More squash. And some weeds. Always got weeds, don't I? Pepper. Chard. On that row back there, that's some gherkin cucumbers. And I actually had to plant some more seeds because some of the plants died. But I just continually come out and throw a seed in the ground. Pull some weeds and throw some seeds. That's a good little slogan. Pull weeds and throw seeds. Huh. Sounds like a t-shirt. There's a tomato plant, cherry tomato in that pot, and more Swiss chard in another pot. So you can grow a lot of food in a small space. This is the other bucket right here that my neighbor gave me. And I've got barking dogs. I've got a zucchini in there. And I've already pulled the first zucchini of the year. I've got one with lettuce and another tomato. Got some lemongrass coming back. Some basil in a pot. This one's got some more little squash in there. And then here's the grand way. My other neighbor has cats inside, and they use a lot of litter. They asked me if I wanted the buckets. Absolutely. Poor boy and I drilled holes in the bottoms, and I went out to the chicken coop on the far side where I put my compost pile, and I raked up the compost. And it took me a couple days, believe it or not, just for those few buckets. I just felt so bad, but over a 2 or 3 day period, I filled the buckets full and planted a Cherokee purple in each one of the white buckets and a black cherry tomato in the yellow bucket. So you can do things very cost efficiently. That's going to produce a few tomatoes. And this black cherry is going to produce a lot of tomatoes. Last year I had great success with those. Okay, let's continue. So I've got a little pot with mince in it. More tomatoes. And then this is an old cattle trough. And I had potatoes in it and I just pulled them. And that's the ones you saw on the table in the house in the cardboard box. Those 4 little potato plants gave me that many potatoes. Now, I've got a lot out in the garden, and I'll show you those. Y'all ignore Liberty. She's wanting to be outside. Can you see her in the doorway? She's spying on her mommy. Okay. So, normally what I do in this is herbs. And as you see, I've got some rosemary. And then I've got a cherry tomato. And I've got these that were volunteers that I'm going to pull out of here and pot separately. There's actually 3 very leggy tomato plants. But another example of you can grow a lot in a small space. And so when I started this bed a couple of years ago, I filled the bottom with limbs and branches and things like that, kind of hugelculture. and just started adding compost and topsoil and manure, things like that, from the chickens and the rabbit. And I think I even added a bag of black cow at one point. Another bucket with another squash. That's a patty pan squash, or a lemon, yeah, yellow flared pan squash. I still have things in my greenhouse that could be planted, and I'm just fighting to keep them surviving at the moment. I may plant them, I may not. They may become chicken feed. Just depends. So this is not my small space. This is my big space. And as you can see, I still have kale going and blush tendril peas, a ton of weeds, more chard. Swiss chard grows everywhere here. I mean, it doesn't matter what I put it in. I'm having a great time with that, and I love it. So I've got some giant Swiss chard back here, if you can see it in that corner. Woo, blurred the focus. Some more potatoes just on that row, and then my tomatoes back there. But I'm going to show you a real mess. I've always battled weeds. That's something I can grow. But this year, my secondary garden looks pathetic. And it is just because I don't have it in me to do it right now, and I'm not worried about it. That's why I did some of the container gardening. But this is my little squash and potato patch back here. And then behind that, you can see I've got plenty of space to grow other things like melons and things like that. But I've got to clean it out first. Don't know if that's going to get done this year. I may put some bush-type melons in little pots. Who knows? But you can grow things. And that's the whole point of this video, is you do not have to have this magnificent space to grow things. So I do have some weed fabric down in some places, and some it's blown over when we've had storms. And I can fix that real fast. And I've got my potatoes here, and they're dying back. It's time to harvest potatoes. And I've just been waiting a couple more days. The granddaughters will be here, and I want them to experience the fun of digging taters. I pulled a couple right there just to see, because I didn't heal these as much as normally I would have. Just didn't. And I hate that it was that way for this year's garden season. But as you can see in the front garden, I still have a good bit of stuff. And in pots, I have a lot of stuff. So, anyway, but this is my horrid mess. I've got some small wonder spaghetti squash. Some of them, I don't know if a rabbit dug it up or one of my chickens that gets loose every now and then got in there, but I'll just drop some more seeds. It's May. We've got plenty of time. And then back here is, I don't know what that is, Kogan grass or something. Good Lord, Terry's going to have to get that up with a tractor. I've tried and just can't do it. And I didn't even put the weed eater to it. It was so bad. But I've got several rows that I can clean up and plant on. And this back here stays moist, so it would be really good for melons. Hopefully next week I'll feel better and get some of this done. I've got a few places where my daughter and I just came through, and we only cleaned out just enough to plant some cucumber seeds. And as you can see, they're coming up. And I've got one little plant already. That's just slicer cucumbers that'll grow on this arch trellis. Be real pretty. And then I still have spaces in the garden to grow other stuff. That little row right through here is nothing but holes. It's got little weeds in it, and I'm gonna pull that. I can plant some more tomatoes or peppers or whatever right there. And then those spots with the yellow, that's the potatoes that need to come out. I stuck them everywhere. My other neighbor had bought 50 pounds of seed potatoes, and she gave me 25, and so I was sticking them everywhere. Got leeks going on. And the grandbabies planted these cream zipper peas for me just the other day. You believe that was all cleaned out, and I see weeds popping through already all around the edges. That's so aggravating. But at least it's minor, and I can get that out pretty quick. But their cream zipper peas are already popping up. So there's a lot of work to be done out here. A lot of tomato plants need tied up and things, but it'll get done over time. That's not something that has to be done right this minute. And it won't be long those flush tendril peas will be done, and I'll pull those out. And I've actually got pickling cucumbers and gherkins seeds in the ground. Half of the trellis is one thing and half is another, so that'll make us some good old pickles. Now this is another little bit of embarrassment, but you can see you can plant in little old kiddie pools even. Just put you some holes in the bottom. I got chicken wire over those little carrots to keep my chickens out of it. I have a couple that get loose. I don't let them free range much anymore because we had a fox that was getting my chickens. And then the other day I lost one to a hawk. She got out and was free ranging herself, and a hawk got her. So speaking of the chickens, they're ready to get up and get out. They're waiting patiently. Mom, hurry, hurry, hurry. My handsome boy Hector. That's the sweetest rooster till now. He's sweet to me. He's heck on those hens though. Oh, he's the only man out of 32 ladies. And they dig the biggest holes and make the biggest mess. We had a copperhead get in here the other evening, and so poor boy had to shoot that. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a chicken snake. I was glad I didn't reach down and grab it by the tail, because I saw it as it was coming in, and I almost did it. I almost reached down there and yanked its tail and flung it. Hi, Louie. What are you doing, sweet boy? You ready for some feed too? Maud, you're gonna get yourself in trouble getting out like that. She gets out every day, puts herself back up every day. She's my only blue egg layer. Her name's Maud. She's a Prairie Belle Blue. I even have a little grow space out here along the chicken coop, but with folks like Maud getting out, there's no point in planting it right now. I've got to add some extra fencing to the gate so she can't jump over. But actually, they can jump over. I've got 10-foot sections and they get up there and jump over. So, but I haven't planted. But I mean, you could use a small space like that and do quite a bit. I usually do them some herbs and things in there. So it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do something. Okay, y'all, so I think I've talked plenty. I'm not trying to push fear or anything like that. What I want is, or what I think is important, is that if all of us grow one or two things, then that takes a little bit of pressure off the supply chain. And how is that not helping? I mean, think about it logically and not out of a place of fear. Just think about a little extra you can do for yourself that gives yourself a little extra security and takes the pressure off, and which in turn leaves food at the store for somebody else that may not can do a pot of peppers or whatever. So even if you're not feeling good or you're handicapped or whatever, you can do a little something. And if you're taking care of somebody that's totally bedridden or whatever, like I do with Mom, every now and then I'll just take a little pot of dirt, hand her a seed, and let her push it in there. And then I take care of the rest for her, and she's grown something. So she doesn't necessarily like to eat all the stuff we grow. As you can see, my canning supplies back there. It's an important thing to do, especially right now. I think we all need to get back to doing more things for ourselves and not depending on the government to take care of us. I mean, if we've learned anything in the past couple years, it's time to get back to some old-fashioned self-sufficiency. Some of us has been knowing that for a long time. We got motivated real quick. Excuse Roxy's barking. I hope that this motivates you to do something and shows that you can do a little bit in a little space. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Have a great day.